You guys need to grow up. This is the Pyro shit.
That he challenged Turkey Tom Google Doc. I didn't know that's the way Nick went.
Let me tell you something.
You know?
You want to find a story? I'm going to give you something right now. It's a tip and it's a serious one. There's something out there about Pyro. Let's see what kind of journalist you are. But it's been blocked at every turn. It's a game ender for him. We just can't touch it because of the situation that went down. And there are some people that have kind of prevented us from doing it on top of it. But there is a game-ending scenario for Pyro out there. Go find it. And I'm serious. I know exactly what it is. And it's in the area of the topic we covered. But we can't do it. And people that have tried to cover it have been scared off. I'm serious. Good luck.
You may be wondering, what is this news story about Pyrocynical? What is this supposed game changer? And how is it related to the topic discussed last year, which is the French girl story? Well, lucky for all you out there, I have the answer, and I will be sharing that in this video today.
Okay, yeah, you're right. You got me. Let me explain myself and, in the process, betray my former self. The information you're about to hear, at the time, I really did think this was a game breaker for Pyro, but I changed my mind.
Is this original Tommy? Is this Tommy?
Is Tommy duetting in this? Yeah, it sounds like Tommy's duetting in this or something.
Mine since because I've seen a lot of things and I understand the optics of Pyro a lot better than I did a couple months ago. While this information is absolute proof that Pyro is deceptive, he's a liar, and he's willing to do things behind the scenes that are unseemly that only benefit himself, I've come to the conclusion that there's been so much false information and so much exaggeration about this case that people just don't care. So if you cry wolf or yell the P word too often, people online tend to lose interest and they're not as willing to hold their favorite YouTubers accountable. I understand that. And to a certain extent, I'm a little sympathetic of it. For every rotten thing that Pyro ever did, for every lie that he got caught in, there is other things out there that make this case completely ridiculous against him. So people were willing to look, at least in my opinion, the other way because there was so much BS around the Pyro story. While I was 100% wrong about this being a game breaker or a game changer, I do think the information is very important. I think you should listen very, very close and possibly pause the video to actually get an idea what Pyro did, what he's lied about, and what he was willing to do. That being said, maybe it shouldn't be a game changer. Again,
I'm sorry, have we gone back full circle? We're playing Minecraft talking about fucking Pyrocynical. Like, I'm just like, I'm getting so many strange vibes right now. Like, this is deja vu.
It feels very
there
weird.
is so much exaggeration around this story and things.
It sounds also like Zero at the same time.
Bad journalism.
Yeah, literally.
The commentary community, and I'm a part of it, has dropped the ball in this particular situation. But I am glad we're finally getting to the bottom of the situation. This is all the information, and you can make an evaluation on Pyro's character, I think, completely now, with this particular stuff being out. Take it away, whatever your name is. I think I'll call you the new guy.
Nice.
Whoa, hey, new guy here again. Thank you, Tommy, for coming on to clear things up. I really do appreciate it. So yeah, back to what I was saying. This information, despite not being as serious as first thought, is still worthwhile taking a look at. And most of it was conveniently on a Reddit post Pyro made a couple years ago. So let's unpack this Reddit post, shall we?
Dude, nothing good comes from Reddit. Who's this guy again? What's this guy's name?
Guy.
Get Greek D? Get Greeked?
Okay, moving on to the last and most important thing, also known as the big reveal. Pyrocynical states that he, in a sense, turned a blind eye to an MLG friend at the time who was allegedly meeting up with a 15-year-old girl to have sex when he was 19. Pyrocynical doesn't disclose the name of this friend, but from the research that I gathered and the assumption that can be made, it was probably Vagabonds, an MLG YouTuber active around 2015 and 2016.
Alright, let me back that up. One of the members, I originally came across the Skype grouping, one of the members being contacted by Keemstar on their stream, and this was seen by one of their ex-girlfriends and was passed on to me. Later, I was sent information of this individual allegedly meeting up with a girl who was 15 at the time and having sex with her when he was 19. I confronted him about this and said how, even though I have information he allegedly had sex with a minor, I won't make it public, even though he was actually participating in a Skype group spewing misinformation about me, which he himself admitted was not true. On top of that, I have his ex telling me that she has medical proof she was sexually active in January 2015, which was the time the two were in a relationship together.
Pyro claims that Vagabonds was actively spewing misinformation about him in Skype calls to Keemstar around the times of the French girl rumors, that being 2016. He then goes on to explain how after this information was passed on to him, he confronted Vagabonds but said that he would not make this information public. Pyro then says there was medical proof that the girl was sexually active around the time of her and Vagabond's relationship. However, the proof is not specified and the link provided no longer leads to anything. This is probably used as a justification that he didn't need to alert anyone. So, what can we gather from this? Well, there seems to be a reoccurring pattern with former MLG YouTubers and acting inappropriately around minors. I mean, even according to Lou herself, these people are weirdos and creeps. So this is it, this is what Pyro did. He ignored a potentially serious situation. However, we can look at what Pyro said in a couple different ways. First of all, the nature of this relationship isn't specified in the Reddit post, and nobody that I've talked to seems to know either. Was she being groomed? Was she a fan, so was it like a power dynamic? Or was it just out of love from both sides? See, without knowing the nature of the relationship, it's hard to judge whether what Pyro did was an objective wrong. I mean, we're just assuming that Vagabonds is being predatory, but there's no evidence to support that. And it's likely that if Vagabonds was being predatory or malicious, Pyro would have alerted authorities. If this is just a...
Okay, I see what's going on here. So it's basically the same thing as like the ancient reality situation. I had heard, by the way, like a while back that there was somebody that was an ancient reality that that did something with a minor, and Pyro was aware of it and didn't do anything about it or something. Honestly, I think I criticized Pyro a lot earlier this year with the ancient reality stuff, but I'd have to look back and see what I said, to be honest, but I'm a little bit more sympathetic now.
You heard earlier that she mentioned that, I forget if it was her or Keemstar, but police were involved in her relationship with ancient reality. Now it's been dropped that she was statutorily raped. And YouTubers knew about this relationship before it got to that point. And I guess nobody stepped in. Nobody was like, hey, what the fuck? According to her, she names Pyro, Dolan Dark, anything for views. Later on mentioning that anything, or Keemstar mentioned that anything for views, as of the date that they recorded this, which would have been in December 2020, was desperately trying to get her to talk to Keem to help her get her story out. But at the time, she names these three YouTubers that knew. And the criticism that's about to be relayed, as you can imagine, obviously, is that these people knew, they did nothing about it, and later on, this guy raped her. This ancient reality guy. Unbelievable. For all we know, Pyro could have known of the relationship, but he could have had no way of confirming it. He could have no way of getting involved. Or maybe he had every power, all the power in the world to get involved and stop it. We weren't there. That's the point that I want to address. All right, it looks sketchy that these YouTubers knew of this pedophile running around their community. It's sketchy that they, and they did nothing about it. In fairness, all right, in being totally transparent, we don't know what they knew and what they could have done in that specific situation because we weren't there. But I'm not going to lie. It looks really sketchy. Not at least, like, let's say they had no power of stopping the relationship itself, all right? They could have made a statement. They could have come out. But for all I know, maybe they, maybe they thought, yeah, let's make a video. Let's, expose the fact that this ancient reality guy is a pedophile. But for some reason behind the scenes, they came to the conclusion that that would only worsen the situation. All right, so we don't know what exactly the extent of everything going on is, but I'm not going to lie, all right? As much benefit of the doubt that I can give to the situation, as careful as I can walk across this entire situation, this looks really fucking bad, dude. You got a pedophile running around your sphere. This ancient reality guy, by the way, he was friends with a lot of people. He was around, all right? And in fact, I think he did editing work for other people as well. I'm not entirely sure on that. But this guy had connections. This guy had influence. This guy had power in the community. And a lot of people, even above him at that time, they knew what was going on presumably did nothing about it, and then a 14-year-old girl got raped. That just sounds awful. That sounds really fucking sketchy. That sounds really bad.
Because I don't really know what you can do in situations like these. Like, just because you know something fucked up is happening, like, what can you really do in that situation? You can either contact authorities, and then you have to prove a situation to, like, potentially, like, you know, authorities that are, like, out of country or out of state. I mean, these are all Europeans, right? So it might not even be happening in the same country. And then the only other thing he can do if like police involvement is useless is just tell Twitter about it, which is just also useless.
The thing is too, it's like, didn't he just say that like not everyone even really knows what's happening? So it's like Pyro, I think what he was saying is that Pyro maybe had an idea that something fucked up could be happening, but it's like, unless you have like the solid, like I have the screenshots of this and this and this, what is going to Twitter going to do? It's just going to cause like weird, unless you can like know that something's going on. Like, unless you have, like, a pretty good idea that something's going on, I would not really know. I don't know. I probably would still do it, but I do sympathize with the idea of just being like, I'm just going to stay quiet.
Well, the thing is like, people always say, like, oh, if you bring it to Twitter, you're raising awareness, right? So that this could potentially not happen again. But you don't know that that's going to happen. Like, all you could be doing by bringing it to Twitter is that this guy, let's say he is predatory, right? What if he just leaves the internet, deletes all his shit, and keeps being predatory, but now we have no fucking clue who he is. Now he's become completely anonymous, and now, like, nothing can be done. Even if nothing could be done before, bringing it to Twitter isn't, like, the save-all, be-all. It's like, well, at least the whole world now knows, okay, and what if this guy
First of all, they don't know, because it's not Pyro, like we said, Pyro didn't have... It's not like Pyro saw, like... It's not like Ancient Reality, like, showed Pyro his phone or something. It's like, here's child porn.
Yeah.
Lol. And then if Pyro was like, well, I don't really know what to do. How do I react to this? Then, okay, then you're just a loser. But it was just like this, to my knowledge, maybe I'm incorrect. It was like this weird situation where he didn't really know what was happening. I mean, like I said, I still probably would have done it, but I do sympathize with the idea of just being like, I'm just going to avoid this because I don't really know what's going on here.
It's easy to say when you remove yourself from these situations to be like, well, I would have handled this completely differently. I would have been the hero of the day. I would have done something crazy.
Exactly, yeah.
And I think I'd have to look back and rewatch my coverage of the Pyro stuff from like a year ago to like understood like what I criticized him for. But if I was super hard on Pyro, I'd probably take a lot of that shit back, to be honest, because I don't know. It depends on what I said, but my current stance with that shit is a lot more sympathetic than I'm sure I used to be. Just because, like, I don't know, it's impossible to know like the dynamics of what's going on here. And even worst case scenario, a lot of these situations, like, there's nothing you can really do about it, you know, and it sucks, but it's like, it's easy to armchair and be like, wow, I would have been the hero. I would have been cool.
I think, you can't, like, I'm Alex something. You can't, if Pyro was like, I'm going to expose it on Twitter, and then he just turns out to be I'm Alex, then it's just like, okay, good one.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, Alex was like, is a great example, because that guy literally said, like, he literally told us in call, this is his words, like he was going to be the oracle of sexual assault. Like he was going to expose everybody. He was to be the fucking hero. And look how that happened, right? He exposed like a bunch of people and got it all fucking wrong, you know? So just because like somebody, somebody might even have noble intent. I don't really think Alex had noble intent with a lot of his situations, but let's say that he did and he still fucked everything up. It's like just randomly like shooting your shot on Twitter with serious situations like this isn't always, in fact, it's oftentimes not the best course of action. So, yeah.
I agree.
Well, that's interesting. Is there anything more to this video?
Scenario where a socially inept loser was finally getting attention from a girl for the first time, then I think what Pyro did was morally neutral. Just use this hypothetical for a second. Just imagine you found out one of your friends was in a sexual relationship with a 15-year-old as a 19-year-old, taking into account that this isn't predatory and it's just young love between two socially inept people who haven't had much attention from the opposite sex. You then confront your friend about it and tell him it's not right and he needs to stop. And he does, and he cuts connections completely. Are you going to tell the police or alert some kind of authorities? Is that person really actively seeking out or is a danger to minors? And remember, 15-year-old and 19-year-old relationships aren't that unheard of. And even though they're, a lot of the time, they're not uncommon. Or maybe you think otherwise, and that's fine too. The point is that it's difficult to condemn Pyro if key details aren't available or specified.
Exactly.
Without this, it's just a game of biases. Do we like Pyro or do we not like Pyro?
By the way, I don't like Pyro, but I'm still willing to give him the benefit of the doubt here because I'm not just gonna be like a retard and just like play like armchair, like, oh, I would have done this.
Yeah.
Because would be stupid.
Yeah.
Leaves us where we are now, inconclusive. I'd also like to note that I found no evidence of MLG members threatening journalists or commentators not to investigate them. Most of the MLG guys have just moved on anyways, either streaming on Twitch or just doing other things around YouTube. The worst thing I encountered were people just refusing to comment or elaborate when asked questions, and more prominent former members just not responding. Nothing even remotely close to a threat. Now let me draw you back to the story discussed at the beginning of this video. The real important story here. Lou's story. This whole Pyrocynical drama is just a diversion from her original cause. Why are we still trying to dig for minor hypocrisies of Pyro while completely ignoring the burning issue at hand, which is a girl that got sexually assaulted? As of today, years later, Lou is still waiting for the justice system of ancient reality's country to do its job. And besides that, she can't do much at all. Bringing attention to a cause could possibly help, as seen in other cases that were covered by media outlets. Others have tried to make videos on Lou and the MLG, and a journalist almost published an article about it, but these efforts did not bear fruit at all. And
by the way, this is another great point that I 100% agree with, although unfortunately, to be fair to the people that were making videos in this situation, Lou is incredibly difficult to work with, and she's also, I don't want to like trash her too much because I'm sympathetic to her case, but she's a little bit of an unreliable narrator. Like she'll say like one thing and then the other, and you have like no idea like where the consistencies are or something. Like I'm not gonna like throw her under the bus because I understand like her situation, but like I've talked to people that have like tried to like work with her, and like I just haven't heard good things. So I mean, I you know, I'm rooting for her in the sense like I root for like all like victims of like terrible crimes to get justice for their shit, but also like she's kind of been a pain in the ass for everybody that's kind of tried to help her, which is kind of crusty, but yeah.
To know why. This needs more attention, and I do hope it gets picked up by bigger creators. Thank you for watching if you have watched until the end. I just really wanted to get the truth out there, let other people examine it, and use it to propel this story.
Yeah, this guy made a really good video. This Get Greeked guy. Give him a sub. He was, mostly because he handled it like perfectly. He didn't go like crazy and be like, oh,